Hey guys, welcome back to the Chain Reaction Podcast, where we talk about disc golf news and new disc golf products. I'm Tanner, and I'm with Daniel. How you doing, Daniel?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. We just finished up having most of the pros in our area in Portland area, and so we just finished up with the Resistance Disc Open, the Portland Open, and now everybody's on to Utah. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. Just getting a little bit of practice in. I have another NADGT coming up at Wheatland up by Salem. So when practice that, got a little experience in. It was a little bit of rainy here and there. Thank goodness we're getting actually a little bit more rain. It's been pretty hot, so it's something we need. But it was good. A lot of teeth, a lot of poison oak. But I'm excited to play. So what about you? How was the experience up at RDO?
It was pretty good. We jumped in and, I offered my services for Friday and Saturday. Originally, since the Silver Series events are only live streamed on Sunday, they only needed me for Sunday, but I was like, hey, how can I film some more disc golf? And they wanted me out. So I went up on Friday and filmed a rainy round. And then Saturday we had a really sunny round, which was really nice because Trojan is a beautiful course. I'm kind of mad that I've never been there before.
And those baskets are all temporary, right? There's nothing. Is it a permanent course?
There's a permanent course. The layout that they played was a temporary layout with different baskets, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. I think they're all like Mach X's or some type of Mach system. But yeah, they did a lot of work to the course to make it like pro ready. I know they poured in like 2 or 3 tee pads over the last couple months or weeks, and it really played well. It's 12 of the 18 holes have water on them, so it's like a very scary course to play. I saw hundreds of discs flying in the water.
Same here. I was watching the final round with like Tim Barham and everybody else. It was like it seemed like it was more often than not. I'm sure that all those waters have, thousands of discs put inside them. So
yeah, the first day sorry.
I was gonna say the first. My bad. You go for it, buddy.
I was gonna say the first day they had a volunteer that was like scuba diving and like pulling them out, and she probably pulled out like 40 or 50, and some of them were probably not from the tournament. They looked like they'd been in there for a while. They're like super gross.
Oh.
Yeah. And the sunny day, she wasn't out there, so not a whole lot of disc got back. And then Sunday, I think everybody got super soaked to the point where they're just like, you know what, I'm going in after my disc. Yeah. And I'm not sure how many people lost discs as far as like not getting them back, but there's a lot of them that like went way in the middle of the lake and were like, good luck. I'm not sure how deep that lake is, but there was kayakers and canoers that were near the water's edge trying to get stuff for people. So that was kind of cool. They were just like chilling on the course the whole weekend, just in a kayak.
I think I saw a picture you posted of the 2 people in umbrellas chilling in the water.
Yeah. So that was the end of the day. We were filming the women's cards, and it was like hole 14. We had kind of a backup. And I look across the lake, and there's just 2 dudes with umbrellas up to their neck in the water. I'm like,
you're like,
why? What is this achieving? And when you're filming the live broadcast as like a camera operator, the whole time you're basically, at least how I was thinking about it, is how can I shoot something that the producer who's like cutting the show together for the commentators to talk about, how can I shoot something that they want to show on the live broadcast? Right. So we had a little backup. There wasn't a whole lot of disc golf going on. We were kind of waiting for the chase card of the women to finish, like getting up to their lies. And so I was just like, okay, what can I shoot right now that's going to be entertaining? And sometimes that's shooting the lead card and just getting like reactions of them sitting down in the rain or moving a picnic table like they did. But that was a good shot. And so it's pretty funny. And I think there's a couple, the Disc Golf Pro Tour shared it, and I think they got a lot of comments on it. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember you saying, you're like, I was hoping they'd show this, and they did. So that's a good feeling too. You're like, oh, I created that.
Yeah. So the funny thing is like the last day, during the weekend, Verizon went out a couple times, and the Pro Tour, I believe, uses Verizon's network to send the live broadcast. I'm not sure if it's Verizon exactly, but it might work off the towers. But I know that most of the cameramen use Verizon, and when we're on a call all day, like between all the cameramen and the production team, like the director and the producer that are like telling us what to do and whose camera's live, and Verizon went out for us. And so I was on T-Mobile and thinking this last 2 weeks, I've been like super stressed out. Like, is T-Mobile going to have service in Portland? Is T-Mobile going to have service out in the middle of nowhere in Rainier, Oregon?
You mean the same boat, dude. T-Mobile was super spotty.
Yeah. And so I was stressing out, wondering if I was going to be like the problem child for the weekend. And then Verizon goes out and everybody on the Pro Tour seems like they don't have service. So we're trying to run like a live broadcast where the director is saying like, all right, camera 1, you're live. All right, ready, camera 2, who's like the catch cam, which means, get ready for the shot coming in. And sometimes they'll tell you like, oh, Deanne Carey is lining up beforehand. It looks like she's going to go high hyzer. So they can, if it's like a blind corner, they can kind of help you figure out where the hole is or the disc is. And since all of them had Verizon, it was only me and a guy named Justin from Fairway Media, who also was like a local freelancer that came in to help. We were the only two that had service, and I think one of the other guys might have got service back. But there was like 3 of us on the communications with directors, and it wasn't all the like guys that do it every day. And so if you watch the coverage with the women, my hand is up whenever my catch cam guy Cam, whenever his camera was live on the broadcast, I would hold my hand up so he would know that he has to hold his shot steady to like not move his camera.
That sounds so much more stressful.
It was a very interesting round.
Yeah.
So it was like a downpour. Like I was completely soaked by the end of the round. I was wearing like rain resistant pants and
it was not good.
Yeah, it was a very interesting day. But yeah, the comms went out. We were doing hand signals to tell each other how to do stuff. I'm trying to think what else happened. But anyway, we got done with the round, and I was like, I asked the guys, I'm like, is that the worst round you guys have ever shot? And they're like, we've never got rained on that hard in a live broadcast. And I don't think they've ever been rained on in a live broadcast, besides like, nothing that would like freak you out.
Well, I think that's what we're well known for too. It's just the heavy rains, but it just kind of one of those things that we've had such nice weather for like the past week. It was up in the 90s and stuff, and then as soon as the big turn, I think we got a little rain
at Portland.
I think we did, but it wasn't much. But yeah, no, we're just almost out of that. It's going to be getting real hot. We're going to be begging for the rain soon, so we'll be back.
Yeah, but it was definitely interesting. And then I was like, the other thing I was like, have you guys ever had like cell reception go out while you're on a live broadcast? Not so bad to where like the live broadcast was not live, but to where the camera operators didn't know whose camera was live the whole time. Yeah. And they're like, nope, that's never happened either. So like, it was like probably the worst like series of unfortunate events that happened while I was able to work with them. So I guess that's like cool to like have that in your feather in your cap or whatever. But
yeah, totally.
But it was an interesting weekend. Just to talk about the tournament some more, I was following the FPO pretty much all weekend, so I got to see a lot of highlights from Deanne Carey, who is a lot better than, like, I've never really heard of her before last weekend or this weekend. She's very good. And she just said she tweaked her form, I think, to where she's not trying to round as much, and she's thrown a lot farther. And I was very impressed with her. Like, she's definitely someone I could see competing this weekend or next week at Worlds, at least in the top 5, because she was so consistent, making a ton of putts.
I was seeing the one shot she did. It was like, it seems like it's like a little playground. It was in a fenced area. I'm guessing that's like an island shot. She parked it. I mean, it was, I like you said, I didn't really know much about her before really seeing her name being thrown up at the Portland Open. I mean, not the Portland Open, but the RDO. So exciting to see what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of new faces out there, and they're really starting to prove themselves. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that hole you're talking about is it's actually like a small dog park, and the tee sign says it's like 380, but I threw it and it's not 380. I think it's like 315. Okay. But still, it's like you either lay up like 200 feet to the left before you get to the dog park, and then you chip into the dog park because it's like an island, or you just run it from the tee pad. And so she threw a 315-foot shot, a slightly uphill over a fence into a dog park that's like maybe a 60-foot circle is basically how big it is. If you like drew a circle around the dog park or the basket, and she parked it round 2. I think she parked, I think she parked it 2 out of 3 times. I think she laid up the other time, but I threw it in like a practice round after the first day when it had nice weather, and I threw an FD the first round or the first shot, and I threw it low and missed it, and then I threw a Sphinx because I thought it was 380, and I threw it like 80 long, and so I didn't even hit the island on my 2 shots, and she just like she pured it. I wish they would have shown the highlights from round 2 because she hit the top of the basket, and I think it was in a highlight on the live broadcast, but she hit the top of the basket and it barely made it in. So she like full on throw, hit the top of the fence, like hit the fence and like bounced in a foot. It was pretty cool. But
that is pretty cool. I know, just say a little bit.
Yeah, but Deanne's carry is really good. Brittany Queensberry, did you ever see her? She's a local out of like La Grande, Oregon, I want to say.
Okay.
She's really good. She was making some really good putts. She drove just as far, as like, I would say she's on the top end of driving distance for the FPO field. Not like a Paige Pierce or Ella Hansen, but like, I don't know, like a Lisa Fakis or Deanne Carey or.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So she's doing pretty good. I don't know why she's not sponsored. I think she was sponsored a couple years ago, and then she has had some kids since, and maybe not been able to play as much. But I was very surprised that she wasn't sponsored by a big or like sponsor, because she was definitely competing. The score maybe didn't reflect it, but she definitely has the skills.
Well, I think when you're playing in that kind of weather too, I mean, that's gonna limit your abilities, especially like you're saying, if you were there and they never had that kind of rain or been rained on that hard or had that kind of experience, it definitely has the factors. I mean, anytime, I think the first tournament we played together, it poured on us, and I was out of Camp Serene 4 years ago now.
Must have been, I think it was 3 years ago, but yeah, that was, it was basically that bad.
Exactly. It was terrible. I remember I was like super upset with the ability of my play, but I was like, and then when I came back and saw everybody at the clubhouse, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not the only one that really had a bad round. So it's just funny.
Yeah. And what was the other thing I was going to say about? I was going to say playing in the tough weather is like one thing, like when it's raining really bad, like I was at Camp Serene, but then you're also playing on a course where 12 of your holes, if you lose your grip, you're losing a disc.
Exactly.
And so the girls were kind of chatty during the rounds, like, because they're long rounds, and sometimes they don't want to communicate with their competitors, and so it's really just the cameramen and maybe if they have a caddy out there. So we were chit chatting, and I'd ask some of the gals like, what'd you throw in that hole, or that was a really nice shot, and they'd be like, oh well, that was the first time I threw that disc because I lost my other disc that I usually throw in this hole all weekend yesterday. So like they're having to make decisions during the round about throwing different shots that they've never thrown before because they've lost discs. And so it was kind of an interesting, like, I don't know, a very interesting round to where like you just don't have that disc anymore. Like, oh, your consistent distance driver that you throw over the water on this hole that's 340 feet, you don't have that anymore.
Yeah,
you got to make backup or
you just SOL. Yeah, it's just one of those things that that's a different factor where, and I think it's like, especially it's 3 rounds, isn't it? It should be 3. I mean, saying like the first day you lose that disc in the water, I mean, you're playing 2 rounds with, less consistency than you would expect. So, and then it's like, as the time goes on and the water gets worse, it's like, it's a really good experience to test your abilities and learn where your mistakes are and what flaws you have. And I think just being wet in general is hard, but I mean, that teaches you to become prepared better, whatever else that's going to, benefit that round in the future for you when you do have that experience.
Yeah, I mean, our round at Camp Serene a couple years ago taught me that if I know there's going to be rain, I'm bringing rain jackets. I'm covering my bag at all costs. Like I'm putting my umbrella over it. I'm having way more towels than I need. I'm like bringing all the like drying agents. Like
just because of that one experience, you're like, I will never go through that again. And that's exactly the truth.
It's so frustrating because I have problems getting grip on a disc anyway. And then when it's like you're completely stoked and your hands are pruned, it's like, I don't know. I think you kind of saw that with Cole on that Jomez round.
Yeah.
I think he just got to a point where he's like, I can't get any wetter. Like, it doesn't even make sense to try to fight it anymore. I'm just going to play.
Yeah, and that's what I think. And even with, going back to Serene, it being so wet and you losing your disc, I mean, you're off the fairway there. I don't know how many people that are listening to this have ever played it, but You miss your lines there. I mean, it's very technical, and you have to have a good scramble game. So with losing grip and then getting first available tree and shooting off into the woods 60 feet, it's really just trying to play for par out there, and it's fun though, man. It's one of those things, like you said, trial and error, and you'll figure it out later.
Yeah. The thing that I wanted to kind of touch on, I've been seeing some like flack on the tournament, like on Jomez. If you look at or like on Jomez, or like what's it called? Like the highlights that you see on Instagram from the Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get to the scores. Players. A lot of people are saying like, oh, this course looks, or there wasn't a whole lot of highlights because they were showing highlights of like Sexton putting a 40-foot putt. And it was like, this is the shot of the day. And it's just like a pretty casual straddle putt from Circle's Edge. And so people were, I don't know, I saw a lot of people hating like, oh, this course wasn't that tough. And people just don't, like, there wasn't any big names. So Adam Hammes won the tournament. Spoiler alert. Played really well. Scott Withers, local, plays the course all the time. Very good player, especially in Oregon. Took second. And then you have like some big names, Jeremy Colling, Nate Sexton, and they, set third and fourth. It's kind of funny. My buddy Bryce calls them the Jomez guys. He's like, oh, it's kind of cool the Jomez guys got on coverage the first day. I'm like, the Jomez guys? Who played from the Jomez crew? He was talking about Nate and Jeremy Colling. So it's funny that new players are seeing that those guys are the Jomez guys.
They're like professional. I mean, I'm sure that they know they play disc golf, but never to like that elite level. They kind of think like, oh, you're more commentating than playing. I'm like, no, if you knew Sexton and Colling, I mean, they've been around and they've been dominating. I think Colling when I first started seeing, there was a lot of things I saw about Colling in the beginning when I first got into disc golf. You heard a lot more about him, and you still do. But I can't remember what it was that he won a couple years back.
He won U.S. Worlds or the United States Championships, which kind of got him on the map a little bit more. And I think people give him some crap for that because I think that year they had a canceled round, I think. And so he won it in 3 rounds instead of 4 rounds. I don't know. But yeah, I think it might have been his United States Championship. But I just wanted to like kind of point out some other notable names for the people that are not from Oregon that maybe don't know how tough Trojan is or watch the coverage and they kind of seemed underwhelmed. The conditions were very rough on a very tough course. So some other like notable names, Andrew Marweed, he's a really good player, 1028 rated. Alex Russell, really good player. Paul Ulibarri, he took 12th. I mean, people know how good he is. James Proctor, he just had a really good showing at the Masters Cup. Another local guy from Seattle and like Northern California, I want to say. He took 12th. Nathan Queen, the lefty, took 12th. Tristan Tanner had a really hot round, first round. He was like 8 down through 9. And then he had a blow-up hole on like this big water carry, like 478-foot water carry. Took an 8, I want to say, like a quadruple bogey. And then
hard to recover.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tristan Tanner's out there. Casey White, Ty Love, the young gun from Oregon. Ezra Aderhold, he was out there. Philo was out there. Brody Smith.
Quite a bit of people. I guess
Gavin Rathbun.
Rathburn.
Yeah, he's been kind of popping up on the leaderboards lately. So, I mean, those are some big names. Like, those are guys you see on tour. Sometimes you see on lead cards, feature cards. And those are all, besides, Sexton and Colling and Adam Hammes, those guys are all outside basically the top 10.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. I mean, like you said, you can show the variations of weather and stuff like that. Definitely played factors, but like you said, I don't think there's a lot of courses. And there's some that they play in the Pro Tour that have a lot of water shots. But I think if you're saying a majority of the shots that are on that course are playing water, OB or whatnot, I think it really gets in your head a little bit more. And like you said, you lose disc on that way too. And definitely play to your level and play to your skills, and it'll. I mean, you played it, and how'd you like it? I mean, was it? Did you play like to a rated, or just like to your just practice shots here and there? Or did you actually play a round?
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't play it like. I mean, 12 of the 18 holes are water carries, and I was not trying to lose disc. and it was after a round, which means it was after me working all day. And so I was like, not really trying to be out there all day still, and the weather just cleared up. So I caught up with a couple guys that are playing on hole 5, if people watch the coverage, and I played, I want to say hole 6, which was a water hole, but I felt pretty confident. It was the peninsula one that's 300 feet. And then I played kind of the back stretch of the front 9, which is kind of all on the roads. And then I played a couple water carries, but I threw my most overstable disc in my bag, which is a C-Line X Out PD2. Just something that's I don't really care about. I got in the mystery box. It's super overstable. Yeah, and so I didn't lose any discs. I did have my disc hit the water to the point where I had to it would have been OB in the tournament. I had to get out of the water, but I was able to get it. Okay. But it's a very intimidating course because you have to either if it's a longer hole, you have to know where to land, and because there's water on most of the holes, but there's also really thick blackberry bushes on every hole or most holes. So if you're overthrowing the hole, yeah, you might not be out of bounds, but you might be 6 feet into the thickest blackberry bush you've ever seen, which is no fun to play in. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's 2 out of the 3 days were bad conditions as far as rain, and then you're playing on a course that challenges you. And then you're playing on a course that if you don't hit your lines or don't hit your spots on the ground, you're either OB or in a blackberry bush. And yeah, so then and then you got to keep that up for 18 holes. It's very challenging, very, very challenging.
That's the thing. I think the wear and tear on that too. I think, like you're saying, I'm sure your hands are so wet, you're so soaked, they're pruning, you're not getting grip. I mean, it's just factor after factor that could really limit your game. But like you said, Adam, I think he still shot a 6 down final round. Maybe not. I could be wrong in saying that. But I mean, regardless, I think saying a few errors he had, but it wasn't many. And I think you really got to give it to him. What was his final round? Was it 6 down?
He shot a 53. I'm not sure what par was. I don't think the men.
Was it a 59?
I think they had one par 4.
Oh, really?
Maybe 2 par 4s on the last round. I think they had 2 par 4s, so it must have been a 56. So I think he shot 3 down.
I mean, still took it. Maybe it was a 6-stroke win. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was a 7. He beat Withers by 7, which any Oregon people know Withers is usually beating other people by 7 or 8.
I think they gave his statistics on there, and I think his wins are just over 100 wins. And even they heard them saying a statistic about Bradley Williams too. I think his wins are 130 something. I mean, insane. You just got to give it to these guys that have been playing, and it's exciting. It's crazy. Yeah, I give it to. And I know, we all know Scotty. Not personally, I don't, but I mean, you always hear about him, and I think he has the name. Well, Kyle's told me, I don't know if it ever actually goes around, but it's called the B-tier bandit because he's always just taking it down. So it's
I mean, yeah, it's just grinding on the local scene. These guys that are not, I don't think Bradley Williams really tours a whole lot unless it's around Texas. So it's just if you're a really good pro and you don't have the ability to jump on tour all the time, you got to just go after the weekend tournaments and take the locals' money, That's what they do.
You got to grind. You got to do it. So, yeah, I hold nothing against it. I think he proves it time and time again. When we always play local tournaments, I always see him, and he's always, top finish. And yeah, I mean, it's always between Scotty and somebody else,
Yeah, it's either Withers is winning by a lot by the last day, and then he just coasts, or it's Withers is losing by a stroke or 2, and then he always goes off on the last round. It's kind of frustrating, but. But that being said, that's kind of the wrap up of the Resistance Disc Open. Jeff Corns and Withers helped put it together, which was really cool. It was an already scheduled tournament. I want to say it was a B tier that was already scheduled, but since the Blue Lake course was not available to the Pro Tour and Milo was not available, I know a lot of other people that I've seen on comments saying why are we playing ball golf courses with the Portland Open? And some people are saying why are we at Trojan? It's because we didn't have Blue Lake and we didn't have Milo, and it was out of everyone's control. And so the Pro Tour really relied on Zoe and Dustin Keegan to get the Portland Open going. Mainly Dustin, I want to say, but I know Zoe was a part of that. and then Dustin and Scott Withers and Jeff Corns to get the resistance disc to be at the level of a Pro Tour event. So that was really cool to see. There's a lot of cool volunteers getting discs out of the water. There was like a bunch of gals that were cooking food every day for people. So like,
oh, nice.
I had a burger every day for lunch that was really good with, I don't know, all the fixins, like really cool, like support staff. When we got off the course with the women, all the like flags and signs and everything that you see on the coverage as far as like advertising, I guess you could say, like the UDisc signs and Resistance Disc Open signs, Jomez banners, Disc Golf Pro Tour banners, all that stuff was already taken down by the time the women had finished 18 because we were the last people on the course and they were just like going behind us, picking it all up.
Did they feel like that was kind of like, did they feel a little affected by that, annoyed, or were they...
No, I didn't really notice it until the end of the round, to be honest. It was just kind of nice because everybody was just ready to get off the course. Like,
I bet. I mean,
we were so soaked.
When we played Camp Serene, I was just like, get me out of here. Like, I don't even care. Just let me finish 18. I'll take it. And, but yeah, no, I sometimes have those experiences for sure.
Well, yeah. Well, part of that also, another weird thing that happened is one of the gals didn't show up to the last day. And so instead of having like 3 cards of 4 people like normal, they had to separate them into, I'm not sure exactly how it worked out, but they had to separate them into 3 cards of 3 girls because that's just how many people showed up on the last day, I think. I think one person might have DNF'd. So that was weird that we were filming a 3-person card for the last day for the women. And then we get to hole like 10, and Amy Lewis, who's a local to Roseburg, she was playing through the round, and I think she injured her hand, and so she kind of quit halfway through. I don't want to say quit, but like she didn't finish halfway through the round. So then her card was left with 2 people, and for PDGA rules, which I didn't really know this, you can't have a scored round in a tournament with just 2 people.
They do that with League. You have to have 3 people. When we do League, you have to have 3 people on a card, so that's why I figured that one out.
Yeah, so then the other, so it's 2 people that are playing, or you have to have 3 people that are playing, or you can have 2 people playing the round, and you have to have a certified scorekeeper follow them and do the UDisc scores. So I want to say his name is Brian. He was the TD of the Portland Open. I want to say he followed that card for the rest of the round and just was their scorekeeper. And so anyway, it was a very, very interesting thing. Like that was the women's cards was like, we started off like reshuffling people from lead cards. And I feel bad for, I want to say Kira. She was going to be on the live broadcast last day, top 4 going into the end of the day. And then somebody DNFs and then she gets bumped to chase card like last second. So like she wasn't able to be filmed. So that would have been a bummer if I was her. But yeah, that was kind of the tournament. But yeah. All that to say, like, I think the 2 stops in Oregon this year were pretty fun, even though it was like a scramble. And if you're ever in Rainier, Oregon, which is kind of near the Washington border.
Pretty much.
I know that because my hotel was in Washington, which I thought was really weird. It was like 20 minutes away. Trojan is definitely a course that everybody should check out. It's definitely like, I don't know if it bumped anything off my top 5 like Oregon courses, but it's definitely within those top 5 now because it's so cool.
Dude. I'll check it out.
Yeah, so I guess we'll jump into a little bit of a smaller segment that we haven't had in a little bit is the new products. So I finally got my order.
Nice.
We got the Logix. It's a 3301 putter in soft EXO, which is kind of a...
Did you get anything else other than soft, or did you just get soft?
They only came out in soft, and I got
I
20 of them. And, and they're all white. So I'm a fan of white putters, but I thought I'd get some variations. So yeah, on first inspection, it is beadless, but it has kind of a rounded edge on the bottom, so it doesn't really feel like it's not beaded. I don't know if you're used to like a bigger, rounder edge on the bottom of a putter. I think the Logic can still feel comfortable. It's kind of shallow.
So what do you think in like comparison?
I don't know. It kind of feels like the Sensei a little bit as far as like the feel in the hand. Maybe that's why I like the feel of it because I throw the Sensei a lot. It's kind of got a really flat top. I don't know. I would say it's like a shallower putter with a flat top and kind of a beadless. So
say kind of like a deputy shallowness, or there's like the Swan's probably the shallowest I could think of. Like it's a little.
I'm not familiar enough with the Swan to say, but yeah, I feel like the deputy would be like a similar depth of feel, but it definitely has like a different profile on the outside.
Okay.
It's got like more of like an AVR.
It seems like, and you haven't putted with it yet? You haven't given any?
Haven't putted with it yet. Haven't taken any out. It feels pretty good though. And maybe that's just because I like the Sensei, and the Senseis have been something I've been had in my hand, but the Logic is the new Evolution line putter from Discmania. And I've seen a lot of people have been throwing this as a throwing putter. So,
oh, really?
So yeah, if they, I don't know, I really like the Shogun, that last disc that came out from Discmania.
Yeah, I remember you showing the Shogun.
Every time I've thrown that since it's been in my bag for upshots, I'm like hitting basket. It's crazy.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, keep onto that one.
Which I do that with my Sensei because I just throw it straight and I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm just like a putter snob, or I like a ton of putters apparently.
No, I'm with you.
And then we finally got this guy. It's probably not news to most people because they came out about a week ago.
Dude, I need to get one of those. Yeah, Ted had that today when we were playing out at Dexter. And yeah, I think they come out a little like the one I bought from you. I mean, it's just the, I believe it's from the Evolution line, just the base stamp. It's starting to get a little flippy on me, but his seemed a little more stable. I just got to feel it. I didn't get to throw it, but I love the grip. It felt like it was really good plastic, real nice give. So yeah, I'd love to pick one up. I need to get one of those from you. Hold a pink one for me.
I have, well, they only gave me orange and pink. Usually they give me a little bit better selection, but the orange ones are kind of cool. I mean, kind of the utility color.
Yeah, those are nice too.
But yeah, the pinks are nice and bright. The oranges are nice and bright.
What are the weights? Are they max weight?
They're pretty much all max weight. Both of these are 174, but I think I've seen a couple that are 176, 175. I don't think I ordered any lighter weight ones. Usually on like order day for dealers, it's like the same as the mass release for the public. It's like you need to log on as soon as they release, and you're getting whatever you can click on the fastest.
Pretty much.
So typically it's max weight stuff, but I'm really excited to throw these two. I mean, I've been throwing the Royal Rage 1, which I'm kind of upset that they didn't go to the FD2, which is like one of my favorite molds.
Yeah. Didn't they do that? Or no, last year it was the Enigma, wasn't it?
Last year, the Royal Rage was an FD2.
Oh, it was an FD2.
And I had the FD2 in my bag, and I had this in my bag. I had an Instinct in my bag. And I was throwing the Instinct for backhands and the FD2s for forehands. And when I looked at my bag, I was like, these are basically flying the same for me, except for one has a little bit more glide, and the other one I like for forehands, being the FD2. So I took the Instinct out. I mean, I really like the Instinct. I feel like it feels great in the hand. I can really crush them. But the FD2 is just so similar that I was like, I don't need two of the same type of.
And sometimes it's better to find that, yeah, just taking up room. And like you said, I mean, it did have the variation of shot. Like you said, if you prefer the FD2 for forehand compared to the backhand for the Instinct, I think it does have a slot, but then sooner or later you just have to realize you're like, there's no difference here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll get into throwing Instincts forehand. Maybe I can figure it out. I think the reason they went with the Instinct is, I'm not sure if they made a public statement or not, but I saw like UC, the owner of Discmania, said that basically Innova is prioritizing their production over like them as in Innova. They're prioritizing Innova's production over Discmania in terms of getting products out. Like from what I gather from like the comment that I remember reading, they've had orders placed with with Innova to get some original discs made, and Innova's like, yeah, cool story. Like we're gonna do destroyers and Halo Race and whatever else we can do, and you guys are gonna have to be on the back burner. So I think they had to go to Latitude to get another Signature Series disc out because the FD2s are made by Innova, and I don't think they're able to manufacture them right now. So pretty interesting to see how that relationship goes.
Exactly. And nor did I really actually understand. I know that Discmania and Innova were in cahoots in some senses, but I didn't realize that Innova had like the upper hand on like who owned the molds and the purging systems and whatnot to actually have priority or whatnot over the other ones. So I'm sure, like you said, I mean, I didn't know that they were the ones that did the FD2. So I mean, for me, not really being familiar, why is it that they? I'm guessing it's funding that they can't just branch out and do it all themselves, or is it maybe it's obligation or contract or something?
I'm sure I don't know the exact specifics. I had to like guess though. Innova and Discmania, Innova has the molds for all the popular discs that started Discmania, like the PD2, the PD, the FD, the MD3, P2. All those were made by Innova, and then like those molds were then given to Discmania to sell. And so Discmania is not a manufacturer; they're more of like a marketer. And so they are kind of like Dynamic Discs in a sense. Like, I don't believe Dynamic Discs actually has an injection molding machine where they're making their own products. I want to say they're just
Europe.
Yeah, it's all just Latitude 64 making discs that they want, and then they have like rights over selling those. Only those molds can be sold with Dynamic Discs, embossed on them and through their areas. So
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So yeah, Discmania basically created their company with Innova, and then now they're kind of like getting into an issue where like the discs that were made by Innova kind of built their company and they're really popular and people want them, but then Innova is making discs for themselves because they're they have a big brand, biggest in the sport, I'm pretty sure still, and so they need to make sure that they're fulfilling their needs as a manufacturer, and then they also have more people on board like Millennium Discs and. Millennium, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that they're still making that kind of stuff. And then
DGA or anything, or
what's that?
Is it Legacy or DGA or anything?
Legacy is, I think they have their own in-house stuff now, and then DGA is Discraft manufactured. But like Infinite Discs, a lot of their stuff is Innova. I don't think they might have other ones from like MVP, but they just have like, I think Innova spread themselves pretty thin in terms of like contracts that they were allowing people to have with them in terms of making plastic, and then the pandemic hit, and so like people couldn't work, and then there's like plastic shortage, so then they didn't have plastic, and then
it's just the outside.
The demand went up, and so I think everybody's screwed. So
yeah, I noticed that when I was over at Video Games Plus there in Roseburg. I was talking to the guy and I was like, hey, seems like you guys are really limited on what you have. And he's like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter what we order. I try to get Discraft, and they're not offering any kind of not really sponsorship, but just any kind of commitment to them that's going to offer them retail or sale of the disc. So I think you're right. It's just was a bad situation with the pandemic, and it's caused a lot of shortage on resin and plastic. So it's interesting to see, and you're kind of seeing it everywhere. So it's I guess they're getting back on the boat. I know it's been I don't know anything about behind the scenes with resin and what's coming over, if the plastic shortage is becoming less of a issue or what, but I know, like you're saying, when anything that sells on Discmania drops that day, it's sold. You really have to like be the first, if you're not first or last kind of thing. So
yeah. But the benefit of me getting my order shipped after the release date is that I have stuff on Utility Disc Golf. So
I think Pius just got theirs today. I didn't go down there. So I think everyone's just starting to get some of their shipments in. But yeah, no, it's definitely it's good, I guess, in some aspects. Always look at the bright side, which I think you're doing. So
yeah, it's good for the people making the products because they are basically printing money or making money, which is cool. But those are the two different new discs that just came out, at least in my world, with Discmania and Prodigy, and I think they're both going to be winners. So we'll probably have disc reviews coming out soon. If it's Daniel doing one, which I need to edit your which one do I need to edit? Your Majesty review still. So that should be coming out soon as I get time to edit. But yeah, if you guys are looking for anything Discmania Prodigy related, I have a huge stack of discs to my left here. And if you use promo code Daniel, you'll save 10% off your purchase. And we got a lot of cool plastic. And so the next topic that I think we wanted to chat about is the Utah Open, and that kind of leads itself into Worlds talk a little bit. I haven't been keeping up with the Utah Open just because I was at the Resistance Disc Open, and I was trying to look at all the stuff related to that because it was cool to be a part of. But you've been watching the Utah Open?
Yeah, I got a little bit of it. I didn't really watch the FPO. I did just get to watch the MPO. So it was Gatekeeper Media and it was Conrad with Nate Perkins. But it was good. It was. I'll give a little spoiler alert. I guess Keith Emerson Keith took it down with the big W. So yeah, Wysocki was right there with him. It seemed like a really technical course. A lot of trees. There was on the final round I was watching. I can't remember his name. I was telling you about him earlier.
Dallin?
What was it?
Dallin Blanchard?
Not Dallin. It was the other one.
I'm looking at the results right now.
He was on the final card. I don't have my phone on me. He was traveling with the guy that was playing on the. He was on round one. I'm terrible with names right now. Anyways, it was just like he just could not figure out his lines, and I don't know if it's like being on camera, and if I can remember his name, I'd let you know. But he was on final round of Gatekeeper, and yeah. Anyways, I'm just gonna keep sitting here thinking, so might as well.
Hang on, I got it. Hancock.
Levi Hancock. Wasn't Levi?
Well, yeah, it is Levi. Man, he must have had a bad round because he.
I don't know. It was
dropped.
just like I just felt so bad for him. I mean, I was just like, I don't know if it's being on coverage and having the stress of that, but it was just like he would either just be shanking the shot too far to the right, or his forehand would just clip a tree. He just kept hitting first available, and I think like we talked in last week's episode, it's just like one of those things. It's really hard to dig yourself out of that hole. And you just start like, I mean, he's smacking his hands. We've all been there. We all do it, but I think it's just figuring out how you can overcome that. And I think even last week you had a really good point. I don't know if it was discussed on there, but you had mentioned the thing when Dave Feldberg was talking to Ken Climo, and he was like, "Man, I'm just so mentally exhausted when I finish my rounds." And he's like, "Well, I don't think about disc golf. It's like even when you play with like more elite people that are MPO and stuff, they're not talking disc golf. They're just talking their family. They're talking about what's going on in their lives." And I think when you just incorporate disc golf so much in your whether you're playing your tournaments, I mean, it's great. We love talking disc golf, but I think there's a point when you have to limit yourself because of mental exhaustion or whatever that's going to follow through with that. So I could see it definitely in him. I mean, you see it so often too with players where, what the heck was that? Or just putting themselves down, and you really don't realize how much that's a detrimental effect to you. So always find the positives. But I mean, I give it to him that I think he's still. I don't know. I didn't get a finish out the second last final round, but for the front nine, he was definitely struggling. It was like bogey, bogey, par, bogey, bogey. I don't think he had really any birdies. So,
he was on lead card, and I'm not sure what his score was, but he ended the tournament out of cash at 17th. He shot first round.
He was third going into the final round.
I don't know.
Because there was Dallin, who was, I think, either he was ahead of him. I think he was. And then, it was just like bogey, bogey, par, bogey. But it was just like, and then I think he was +6 through the first 9. And then, and recovering from that, man, it's like, it's so much easier said than done. I can give my speech on like, oh yeah, find the positives. It's like, even if you find the positives, doesn't mean you're not going to shank the next shot and be like, I was talking positive and nothing worked. It's like, it's just figuring out how to like, mitigate those issues and work through any problems that are going to cause you more distress or errant shots. But sometimes you just have those days. Like, it's more than anything. You're shanking, you're putting right. Like, I mean, I've been going to the gym the past few days, so my body's like extremely sore, but I went out and played Dexter today, and for some reason I was just missing right, even though every day I've been putting for an hour. And it's just, sometimes it's like you're not going to see the results too, quickly, but then, yesterday I went and played out in Old Baker, and it could be me playing way too much, and then you're, overwhelming yourself. But I was out there, and Mark ran into me, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play around?" And we ended up playing around, but I was just so surprised by my putting. I think it really, putting an hour a day, just going from, 10 putts, 20 putts to 30, or 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, and doing 25 putts each, and then just keep doing that cycle over for an hour. I had some putts that, even just putting out circle 2, 60, 70 feet out, I mean, hitting the basket and even getting close, and it just shows like practice makes improvement. So it's been exciting to really just start implementing more and just getting out of my head and just being like, I'm not feeling it, but might as well just go down there and do it. And then when you're kind of in that motion of just getting into putting and being there, there's no issues. It's like getting to the gym. You dread it. You're like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then you get on the machine, you get on the treadmill, and you're like, oh, what was I complaining about? I'm here. And you just get done with it, and you have this really great, feeling of accomplishment. So it's definitely and results show sooner than later. So
Yeah, consistency is kind of more important than like what is actually being produced. Like, I don't know. There's this thing I remember hearing about is like when you are in your like during the week if you're practicing, like you're not going to be 100% every day. Like you're not going to be making every single putt. You're probably going to be at like 60% of your putts made, and then 70% of your putts made, and then the next day you might be at 40% of your putts made, and then like that doesn't tell you the story of if you're getting good or if you're getting better or not. It's more the consistency of like putting those weeks together. By the end of like a month, you'll get like 2 strokes off your, you'll make an extra 2 putts during your practice round or what have you. It's just like little steps. The thing that I was looking at with Levi, because I haven't seen him before, my first thought is kind of young looking. And he started the day in third place, 11 down for the tournament. And spoiler alert, he ended at -2 for the tournament. So he shot +9.
The back 9, he must have came back, and he had some decent shots.
But if you look at it, he's sponsored by Latitude. He was born in 2002.
Oh my God! Okay, yeah, very young kid. He's just turning 20.
Yeah. So I mean,
when I saw his face too, I mean, and that's the thing is like, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's just upset, but yeah, young kid. That's why I didn't know he was 2002.
Yeah, it makes me feel old when I see people's that are adults that they were born after 2000.
Like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's scary for me. Because I'm a 1990, and I think you're right there with me.
89, yeah. I'm an 80s baby by 3 months.
Yeah, I'm nice.
But I mean, if you were to look at me when I was in high school playing baseball, like I was the same way. Like you're supposed to have a short-term memory in baseball, and the thing I remember my coaches telling me all the time was you're too hard on yourself. So I can guarantee if I was playing disc golf at the same time, like I would be the one punching my disc, throwing my dirt bag. Yeah, I'd be a Nico, which I'm not that way anymore. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting that the Utah Open had a young gun on the lead card, and so did the Resistance Disc with Cole, and they both kind of had some struggle rounds. But
I give it to Cole. I mean, for as young as he was and the composure, I think he just kind of, like you said, at some point he just accepted the fate of being like, I'm drenched and I'm just going to have fun and do this round. And that's all you really can do, man. I think when you, like you said, we're so hard on ourselves, even in life in general, that, I mean, even just doing something you love and still being hard on yourself, I mean, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Cole had a great attitude, and he's definitely going to get better because of it. And I mean, if he has a bad round at the Resistance Disc Open and then he goes to Worlds and does really well, places top 20, top 10, like I think it's a win.
Yeah,
confidence booster. Yeah, it's all just kind of like, yeah, not being too hard on yourself. You have a lot of tournaments to play. This is not the ideal conditions. I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot to say, but anything else about the Utah Open that you saw as far as coverage?
Not really. I mean, I think we had the discussion of it being the course for Worlds. I think that's a little weird to have a pre-tournament, which I mean is fine, but at the same time, like I felt like they would have done something a little different this year. But with preparation and everything else that goes with it, maybe they didn't have many options, and it being in Utah for Worlds, because where was Worlds last year?
They didn't do Worlds last year.
I mean, sorry, the year before that. Yeah, that's right. Is it always 2019? Utah?
No, Worlds changes every year.
That's what I figured.
It was in Peoria.
It was Kansas. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the situation was.
It says Peoria, Illinois.
Oh, is it? Oh, wait, Emporia is what I'm thinking.
Peoria. Sorry, I said Emporia. I said Emporia.
I think Peoria. I say Peoria, and I interpreted it as Emporia, so that's my bad. But Illinois, yeah. So did they say why they chose Utah again as?
I mean, I think
it's already there. I mean, not really.
Well, I don't know. Like I think the Utah Open is a good tournament, and I like watching it when it comes up every year. The thing that I think is interesting is like, why have a Worlds 2 weeks after? Like, I could see it being like Utah Open at the beginning of the year, Worlds being at the end of the year at the same courses. But when you put them 2 weeks apart, it's like you're kind of like ruining the hype of Worlds in my mind, because you're getting some of the same players playing the same tournament. You already kind of have a baseline from the previous really competitive tournament at the Utah Open. of like who might do well, and you're kind of like, I don't know. When I think of Worlds, I think of like I want the players to be out there a week beforehand. So I don't really want a big tournament beforehand. I want them all to feel comfortable on the courses, give them as much time as they need. And then there's like add some suspense to it. Like I want to kind of have a little bit more like drama when it comes to like who's going to win this year's Worlds, and like build it up for a week and maybe show some practice rounds at the tournament, not a full tournament. Um, because like, I don't know. It's kind of ruining the World's experience, because I'm looking at the Utah Open and it's like, cool, Emerson Keith won. He did really good a couple years ago at Worlds. I remember that's kind of when he kind of broke out.
Ace on there too, and that's really when I saw him too, was at Worlds, and I was like, who is that guy? And his form was just elite, and it was just like crazy to see, and he was just on fire.
And he's like a tiny guy.
Yeah, totally.
But like, I mean, Ricky's been on fire this year, so that's not a big deal. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at the names in this tournament, and like, yeah, there's a lot of big names like, you know, Ricky and Emerson Keith and Nico and James Conrad, but I feel like we had probably just as much competition at the Resistance Disc Open. So it's interesting.
Like when you told me, like Philo was there, and Ezra, and everybody else that kind of went with it. I mean, Coling and Sexton and Withers and Hammis. I mean, it was like, it must have seemed like it kind of still, and there were still some, excuse me, still some people that didn't show up, I think, for either tournament. I think I didn't see Macbeth at either of those. So, but I think he's doing his own thing with the foundation. So, but yeah, no, it's kind of cool. I mean, you really had a good experience with a lot of pros at even the Portland Open, and then the, you know, RDO. That's a lot of exposure. It's like kind of
yeah, it's pretty cool. But I mean, going back to like the Worlds talk is like, yeah, we're gonna throw Adam in the mix, who won the Masters Cup, won Resistance Disc Open. He's kind of on fire right now. I could see him doing really well, but just like 2 weeks apart, it just kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of ruins the Worlds this year. And I don't know, maybe
Worlds too, and missing it last year, and then it seems like he kind of just half-assed it. I don't know. I'm just giving my base opinion, but I think it's like we should have made it a little more spectacular or something else. But then again, it could be a lot of traveling. I don't really know what else goes into that. I mean, having it there might just been the most ideal situation, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't know what was going to happen, you know, similar like Portland, and not getting courses available to the Pro Tour in time. Maybe they're just like, hey, let's run the Utah Open, and if we run into any issues with COVID or whatever, we'll still have Worlds 2 weeks later that we can just keep the same people out there. Or I don't know, maybe it's a new staff that they wanted to have them run a tournament beforehand as like a tester to see how the Worlds would do. I don't know. There might be some other positives to it, but
some that we don't know. There should be behind the scene, you know, situations that aren't really to my knowledge. So I can't give my full opinion. I can just judge it, and we're good at that. So
yeah, I'm trying to think of like another sport that like the World Championships is done on a stage that's a smaller tournament is there 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Like, I don't know. You'd have to go back and like think of like sports that the playing surface comes into play, like golf, maybe tennis or something like that. But
yeah, but I think when you're playing something like, you know, tennis, you can just probably play anywhere, and it'd be like, you know, the same kind of. I mean, sure, like the weather and whatnot may be different, but I think when you're playing like golf or something like that, you have such a variation of a course. But it's hard to really say what you can compare that to. That they are doing like, you know, a pre-tournament, and I don't know, maybe it is just I don't know. We're gonna write Jeff Spring. Is he running it? We'll see what.
No, it's a PDGA tournament.
Oh, is it PDGA? It's not
the Pro Tour, the Disc Golf Network's out there filming the live broadcast, but I don't think Jeff Spring is involved with it at all as far as the Disc Golf Pro Tour. At least that's the impression I got. I could be wrong, but
you'd probably know more than I would. So.
But I mean, yeah, where is it? The tournament starts on the 22nd, so it's on Tuesday next week. I think it's 5 rounds for Worlds.
Who do you think's taking it? Who do you have more faith in?
Man, Adam Hammis is playing really hot right now, and he has a strong forehand, a long backhand, and he putts really well. Mm-hmm. So, but from one of the courses look pretty wooded. Is it the Fort?
The Fort? No, I think it's the not Smugglers. What is it? The
Mulligan's. I thought Mulligan's was a. A ball
Maybe
golf
it's playing
course.
the four. I can't remember which one I was watching the tournament on in Utah, and there was one that was like, yeah, it's got teeth. That's for sure. I mean,
Well,
I would,
Mulligan's is the ball golf course that
then
they
it was the fort that they were at, and if that's final round out there, they're at the fort. Yeah, that's. It reminds me. I don't know, just very wooded and technical. I can't even think what I would really compare that to, unless you've played like. It kind of reminds me of there's a course out in Southern California called Rattlers. It's I can't remember. It's like the Mountain Pride disc golf course, and they've just got like a lot of these sequoia trees and like other trees. It's just very technical and wooded in some shots. So I could definitely found some. I think it's even more technical and wooded over in Utah for the at the fort. So hard to compare what I can find in comparison, but it's definitely technicalities.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched the coverage, so maybe I'll have to do some worlds prep. But as far as like my prediction for who's winning it, it's I mean, there's you got to kind of go with who has the momentum right now, and in my mind, that's Eagle, Ricky, and probably
Adam.
Adam Hammes.
Mhm.
And
And
out of those guys,
yeah, I think Eagles definitely making his comebacks. I mean, even getting the Portland Open right there, and but yeah, no, it's definitely like you said, the momentum. I mean, I don't know, man. Macbeth's always just such a tricky beast.
Macbeth's always in the hunt,
Yeah,
and his
so
putting's getting better. His putting was kind of the issue of him, placing really well in the beginning of the year. But at the Portland Open, I think it showed that he was coming back. I mean, some of those putts that I remember seeing were like just dialed from like 50 feet. And when his putting's on, he's very hard to
oh, it's
beat.
a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, it's like I give it to him. I just we'll see if he gets the six year, six time.
Who do you like? If you had to pick one person, I'd probably have to pick Ricky,
That's
just
gonna
because of just because of the woods. From what I remember, the Mulligan's course is not super long. It's not like Eagle's going to be able to throw 800-foot roller, 800-foot roller, and have a tap in eagle. I think it's going to be more like technical backhand shot or control backhand shots that are within a lot of people's range. And I think Ricky's pretty good
Yeah,
at doing
I would
that.
have to go with you on Ricky. If not Ricky, I'm going to say Macbeth. I mean, I still give it to Adam and Eagle. I think they still, but I think there's this thing about Macbeth where I think his mental game is like just on. I mean, he definitely gets frustrated with himself, but I think his ability to turn off, like, sometimes he'll always have. I think it was him coming back. I don't know if it was Masters Cup, or no, I think it was just the Portland Open. But his comeback through like the final round, I mean, it was like sometimes he's in the end, but it's like you're saying with Scotty too. Sometimes they have that they're able to flip that switch and just be like, all right, it's game time, and then they just grind and they just perform, and it works out well. But like you said, I mean, with his putting coming in a little bit attacked, it's hard to say. But I think with the technicality of the shots, with Ricky being as good as he is, and with hand-eye coordination, I think he definitely has maybe the advantage. But it's anybody's game. It could be Barsby, could be him again. So
Could
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Could
it's
be Emmer Daddy, which is
yeah.
the worst Instagram handle that I think you can have. I get that he's a dad, but like
Who is that?
Emerson
Emerson?
Keith,
Oh, is Emmer Daddy?
his like username on social media is Emmer
No.
Daddy,
Okay, teach their
which
own.
he's a dad, which I guess it
Yeah,
makes sense, but it's just like
Emmer Daddy.
interesting. It's like Emmer Daddy wins at Emmer Daddy wins the Utah Open. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Like, let's have a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I think his wife or girlfriend's probably like, "We're putting this down." Okay,
You're the
girl.
daddy now.
Yeah, yeah.
What about the women? I mean,
I mean, it's exciting to see, like you said, with the new faces that are there. I mean, we'll see if Paige takes it down again. She definitely has, I think she has definitely an advantage over a majority of the field, but Kat could be there with her. I mean, it's even seeing Ella, who knows where she's going to perform. Haley King. I mean, uh, if I could say, I'm going to go with Paige again. I think she's definitely, but maybe not. I mean, if it's not her, I'm going to go with maybe Kat or. I'd like to see Oregon local. I'd like to see. I mean, even like if Ella takes it, or even Deanne, that'd be exciting to see.
yeah, I mean, Paige, I feel like is the front runner in most tournaments, and if I had to put my money on it, I feel like Paige is going to do it. The thing with Paige is like she'd be the first six. She'd be the first one to break out of the 6-time. Isn't she 5-time world champ?
She is 5-time. Her and Macbeth both got it at the same time.
So she'd be a 6-time world champ. So she'd be like getting over a couple other women that I think are tied with her at the moment.
That's Juliana, which she.
I think she's a 5-time.
Is she 5-time?
So I mean, the other thing with Paige is like she has a documentary crew or a guy. I'm not sure if it's a big crew, but her documentary that she's coming out with, Fierce, that just got funded. They're literally filming her all year, and like I think the climax of the movie is going to be her winning her 6th worlds. So like I think she's like kind of planned that she's going to just like win this tournament, which she could probably have planned that anyway, but she's put like some money behind it. She's got people following her. She's got multiple camera crews following her. So she's got a lot of pressure on herself, which, I mean,
can be good or bad. I mean, if you thrive off that pressure and it works to your advantage, great. And I think that's one thing we all need to learn, is how to like work with the pressure rather than being like, I'm so overwhelmed and I'm gonna be like, if I don't perform, it's like, you know, there's a lot that goes to that. So all the best to her. I mean, if that's the way it's kind of detailed out, maybe that is, you know, the catalyst or the motivation you need to like, you know, succeed. So if it is the case, hopefully it works out for her and it doesn't, you know, botch her expectation of taking the W.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm right there with you though. I think Paige Pierce probably number 1, probably a sure pick. And then I think Kat is always going to be in the hunt. She's probably going to be a few strokes back from Paige, especially if her putting is on like it has been.
Same with Haley. I think Haley would have a good run in it too.
I'm looking at the names right now, and Haley was another one that popped up. I think she's going to be a top 5. Kristin Tattar, I think that's how you say it, right?
Oh,
she's playing it. I
saw Albert Tam was playing
Portland.
Was it Portland? Okay, mm-hmm. Yeah. He played somewhere. Maybe he played Utah as well.
He might have played Utah. Apparently
I saw his name out there and I was like, oh dang, Albert Tam's out there. I didn't know he was playing right now. And I think they had something over in Seppo played. He didn't get the W, but it was it was when Utah Resistance was going on. There was like a Finland event or something, and I saw Seppo's name, and I was like, oh, really don't hear anything about it. I mean, it's with COVID, everything's so strapped down, and you don't see a lot of the name players you usually did. So it's a lot of the United States players, but maybe next year.
Yeah, apparently Albert got in because he did a trip to Mexico, and so like that was his workaround. Is like you can't make apparently they couldn't do a trip from Europe to U.S., but if you go to Mexico first and then travel through Mexico to the U.S., you can do it. So that's how Albert got in. And then
with maybe Tattar as well.
Yeah, Tattar and her husband or boyfriend, Silver Lat, they went to like Croatia, or I'm probably ruining it, but they went to some other like Latin American country, and then they came into the U.S. in order to get to Worlds. So like, it's funny how like the Europeans are like,
yeah, to get in. That's actually pretty funny. And I would be in the same boat. I'm like, I'm going. Like, if I can make this happen, and this is like, any of the U.S. is like, you know, the elite, top of the line kind of thing. So, if I have to go through Mexico to get here, yeah. And you want to, if you have that drive, like, hell yeah, get it, do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my top 5 out though. I think it's gonna be Paige, Kat, Kristin, Ella,
maybe King.
And then, man, Jessica Weiss has been playing really well.
Is she still out right now? I mean, she's dealing with the injury?
She's playing, and I saw a post that said she feels like she's 90% there. She doesn't have pain or something, but she doesn't feel very comfortable, like putting or something. Like there's something about her game not playing for a long time. She doesn't feel comfortable. I mean, but yeah, so Paige, Kat, Ella, Kristin, and Haley. Those are probably my top 5. And then like my dark horse picks, I think Deanne Carey, if she plays as well as she did last weekend, I think she could be a dark horse for, you know, top 5 finish. I don't know if she's going to beat Paige, but I mean, Zoe's in there too. She played really well. One of the tournaments ago, she got a concussion at
Zoe?
Yeah. Did you not hear about that? She was like running up. Yeah, she hit her head on a tree branch, like as she was coming up a hill or something, and got a really bad concussion. And she is feeling better. Last time I spoke to her, I think she was feeling better. But I think that's why she's kind of been not as competitive in the last couple tournaments, because she's been like having concussion-like symptoms, which is not good. But I'm hoping that she does well.
Part of the branch too. Ugh. That sucks.
Apparently, like blindsided her to the point where like she was like, I don't know. It was like a steep hill apparently, and she was like had her hat on and like running up a hill and like didn't see it, and it just kind of like the ones that you don't see are the ones that hurt the most. You know,
Oh
that's what
yeah,
they
like
say in UFC. And
white, face copper. I've been there. Yeah, it's not
yeah. So I'm hoping she does good. Another one that I hope does good is Sayananda. She's one of my buddies from Spokane.
okay.
She's really good. So I mean, there's a lot of competition. I mean,
Yeah.
top of the pack, I feel like it's going to be a Paige Cat show maybe, and if Ella is on, I think she competes with them because she can match them distance for distance.
Exactly.
And she's been getting top 3 in the last couple tournaments, so that'd be really cool to see her do really well. But other than that, I mean, like 4 through 12 is like, I would say, going to be really close.
You should jump on the Grip 6 pick 'em.
How does that work? I've never actually done that.
I've never done it. It's probably just like fantasy or like what you're doing when you go on DraftKings for UFC. I think you just pick your top 6, but I don't know if it goes into detail of like how much they win by and everything like that. And but I think it is like pick your top 6, and I wonder if it's like top 3 women, top 3 men. But no, I've never done it. I just saw that was on there. But
I just clicked it. We're gonna learn together.
Okay.
Pick 6 players for a chance to win. The goal is to have the fewest total points. Tap on 6 total players. Your 6 picks can be a combination of MPO and FPO, which something I learned that M doesn't stand for men's. It stands for mixed. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. A lot of people are saying mixed. I'm not sure what the P means. Players. But yeah, M apparently means mixed, because if you think about it, like women can play men's in the men's division, but men can't play in the FPO. Because,
I didn't know that.
Well, I don't think you can play in FPO if you're a man.
I mean, I figured that, but I didn't know women could play in the MPO. I didn't know if they had that opportunity that they could.
Yeah, I think Paige has played in it a couple times, and I think she's cashed, if I remember right. Maybe I'm thinking wrong. But anyway, you pick 6 total players. They can be from the mixed division or the female division. The player that wins each division gives you 0 points. All other players give you 1 point for each stroke they finish behind the winner of their division.
Oh, okay.
The leaderboard updates in real time. So all you got to do apparently is have a UDisc account.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people complaining about UDisc raising their price. I'm like, what, to $10 a year? Like,
yeah.
For as much opportunity as they give and how much they do for the sport, always having live updates and everything else, like charge $20, I'll still pay it. I don't care.
Yeah, I agree. So if I'm going with this, like we talked about, so you get a point for every stroke behind the leader. So I feel like if you're picking FPO, if Paige wins by like 30 strokes,
and you're choosing Cat, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So I don't know if I feel like I'm gonna pick a couple. So out of my pick 6, I'm picking Ricky because I feel like he's hot right now.
Yeah.
I'd go and I wish I would look at the. I feel like you got to pick Paul just because it's a world title.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what kind of pressure they're putting on him too. I mean, lots of saying that PDGA video of like his promotional video of like, is it going to be a 6-time? Which also, Gia, you can give your opinion on it. I'm not going to say that. I thought it was unique. I just thought like they could have done a little bit better, but who am I to judge it? I don't know if you can even see it right now.
Did you send it on Skype?
No, I think you just look it up. I think it was on YouTube. It was on Facebook, but it was like Macbeth. Like, I'm probably giving it more slack. I just felt like it was just
Oh, Chris Dickerson, man, he might do good.
Oh, I forgot about Robot Chicken. I think, yeah.
I think I'm picking Wysocki, Macbeth, Eagle, Adam Hammes, just because I think he's on fire right now. And
you gotta throw, 2 women in there, because say you do choose Paige and she does take the win. I mean, it could be anybody, but I feel like you're gonna have less points with her than anything.
But you get a point for every stroke behind the leader of the division.
So yeah, but I'm saying like if you chose Paige, if we think she's going to play as well as we do, she would be 0.
Yeah. So if I pick a woman, another girl.
That's what I'm saying. Probably don't choose another girl, but just choose. But then again, it could work out if you want to choose. I don't know, man. It's always like that's the risk. Does it cost? I mean, anything?
Simon played pretty good at Portland.
What does it cost anything?
No.
No, it's all just like and you get like a grip 6 belt out of it, or what?
Says the entry with the fewest total points wins a grip 6 disc golf belt. In the event of a tie, the entry guessing closest to the total combined strokes under par for the MPO and FPO champions will win.
Your camera went a little blurry there. You're kind of out of focus. There we are. There it is.
So yeah, apparently you win a grip 6 belt, which is, I don't know, kind of cool. It's like a $40 win.
No, they are. I bought them before they got super expensive. I think I got like a 3-pack for $100, and then now they're up to like 200 or something for a 3-pack.
For a 3-pack?
Yeah, it was like some insane price where it was like, I can't remember how much they were. Maybe like 140. I know it was a lot more than I paid. But it was cool. And they gave me like a little hanger with the belts, and it was chill. I mean, I still have them. I still wear them every day, and I haven't had any flare or any issues with them breaking down. So I definitely give it to their quality. I like grip 6 belts. I'll vouch for them.
I'm gonna go Chris Dickerson. I'm a big Robot Chicken fan.
I like Chris Dickerson. Yeah, I think he's.
I feel like if I pick Chris,
I'm thinking about the guys too, because you're like, well, what about James Conner? I mean, with his switch to MVP, and I don't feel much. But I mean, it could be crazy. It could be somebody we don't even think. Who knows? I know Yuli could take it. It could be anybody. I mean, it could just somebody you really didn't expect and be like, oh, I had no idea that. Oh, watch, it's Avery Jenkins. He like comes back and he's like, I finally got my first world title. Does he have a world title?
Avery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many does he have? Just 1, 2?
Man, I want to say 2 or 3. He won PDGA Worlds in 2009, and he won the U.S. U.S. Distance Champion 2000, 2005, 2006.
And then Simon stepped in and was like, "Hey, let me show you what's up."
Oh, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm like half your size and throw 100 feet farther.
Yeah, exactly. It's always so crazy. You're saying with Emerson Keith, like being so tiny and his forehands and just his power in general, like. I mean, I was at the course today, man, and it was like, I think I'm on 18, and I'm like mashing as hard as I can to like get it out there, and I'm just cressing 400. I'm like, how do you get past that? I don't know. It's timing. It's a lot of other factors, but
yeah, it's a lot. It's like timing, form,
less rounding. There's a lot of factors. I mean, I'm playing out there with that guy Daniel, and his forehand's just insane. Like he was probably. I don't know if you remember where the long position is on Dexter on 18. It's not like it's like farther back by the path. He's probably 80 feet from it with a forehand. I was just like, it's just this mash forehand. I think he had a max by Innova or something like that, and just popped it on a flex and just kept tracking, and then it rolled back. And then Ted pops up with his free tail and does a roller 10 feet past him. So Ted's like 60 from the basket for birdie. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
That's insane.
And I'm throwing and I'm putting like maybe 390, and I still got like another 250 to the basket. I was like, oh my God. Got the par. It was good. I picked up one of those Adam Hammis wasps, and I'm actually really liking it, man. The glide on those things are money. I ended up sending you a picture of all 3 of those discs. I thought I sent it to Ted, but it was
yeah.
But yeah, I ended up getting like from winning at the NADGT, they sent me about $70 in script. So I just jumped on Infinite for the NADGT, and I was like, okay, how can I spend this? So I got some new discs. It was nice, man.
You're going with an all pink bag, right?
Yeah, I'm switching everything to pink these days. Yeah, the Envy I got had a pink rim but a purple top, and my other Envy when we were playing Whistlers, I threw it right into that tree and got a big dent in it, and then it was just understable after that. So I was like, I'm not throwing that anymore. So I picked this one up, and it was like, it's a 168, but it still holds pretty well. And yeah, I know I've been switching everything to pink, and it's so much easier to find, especially when it's like this time of the year in Oregon.
Yeah. I'm looking at this one. I'm like, man, that would be kind of smart to do a bright color.
Yeah. So I went pink. A lot of people do green, but I mean, it's green's not the idea. But pink for me, I don't know what switched it. There was something that started it, but I started looking through all my old stuff, and I was like, oh man, I got this really nice Jeremy Cooling Thunderbird that's pink. I got all this, and yeah, I kind of like I have that Rask that's like pink. I like that one, but I think I like more of like the solid, like lighter pink of not really a see-through, like a Champ plastic, just like that Page. I don't know if you saw that nuke that I got, that Page Pierce 5-time nuke.
Yeah.
That pink's like the ideal pink for me. But anyways, boring topic.
No, that's cool. The monochromatic bags I'm jealous of. There's this guy that caddied for Yuli that I played my practice round at Trojan with for like the 5 holes. And he was really good. His name was Brody, and I think he said he was sponsored by Latitude in the day. So if anybody knows a Brody that's really tall and skinny from Oregon, he threw really far. But he had this bag, and it was all blue discs. And I was like, really? Man, looks like you've been playing for a long time. Like, trying to, whenever somebody has a bag of one color, that they're like into it. And he's like, I haven't played disc golf in a while. I just grabbed these discs out of my house. And he's just like picking up destroyers that have like the little, like, piece of sticker on the bottom. I'm not sure if you guys ever got a new disc and has a sticker on the bottom. Yeah, he's like taking discs out of his bag that are brand new, taking the sticker off, and was like, I wonder what this flies like, throwing it over 400 feet of water carry. I saw him throw 2 brand new discs in the water, and he's just kept walking. I'm like, all right, I guess I have my whole bag with me, and I'm throwing super safe, overstable stuff that I know where it's going to finish. And he's just like, brand new disc. Let's see how this flies in the water. I'm like,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, that'd be nice. No, it's funny. I threw those new discs today, and it was like, we showed up there, and there's these 2 guys from Texas. And they're like, hey, you want to play doubles? I was like, yeah, sure. And they've been playing maybe for like a year or 2, so it really wasn't like much of a. But it was just funny. I grabbed a few new discs. So I was like, well, I don't really have anything to like prove to these guys. So I was just taking out the nuke, and yeah, one's so hard for me to get, man. I'm almost to the parking one. I think it's right next to the water. I'm usually about 60 out now, so I think that's like a 400 and something foot shot. 460.
That's a pump. The one that's on the right.
Mm-hmm.
At Dexter, yeah. I think I've only had jump putts at that one.
Yeah, no. Lately I've just been pushing my crank out there, just getting a nice flex, then getting like kind of towards the picnic tables, and it cuts back. But one of these days, man, I'll figure it out. I'll be like Dustin. I saw him throw one time. It was like 10 feet off the ground and just parks it. I was like, okay, that's baffled.
Yeah, when you're starting to be around people that are like over 1,000 rated touring pros, it's like there's levels to this. Like, it's like maybe I should just continue playing MA1. I don't know if I need to be playing open anymore. I'm definitely not even close to that. But
it's a little bit humbling. So yeah.
Who's your pick for Worlds? Let's get this down while we end it.
We're doing top 5 or just top 1?
I'm just gonna say your ride or die, number 1.
Going my ride or die, Macbeth, dude.
Macbeth. Okay, I guess it's gonna be Macbeth and Ricky. I think Ricky's gonna take it. He just seems dialed right now. His putt seems on.
Put some money on it. Let's do $5.
$5.
$5, dude. Big winner.
Let's do a disc.
There you go. We can do a new disc.
Let's do a new disc.
Yeah. Okay. You let me know what you want me to buy, and then I'll let you know what I want out of your inventory. Yeah. Let me know what you're interested in. We'll do a disc. I'm down. If neither of them win, then I guess it'll be a draw. I guess we could say whoever plays better. No, that's fun. Yeah, I could also make a bet on UFC 264 if you're interested in that.
What did you say?
UFC 264.
Who? I should know this. Who's fighting in that one?
I'm pretty sure it's McGregor and Poirier again.
Okay, that's a tough one.
We'll leave that one up to speculation. We'll do a little more research on their training camps and see if there's anything out that.
My brain says Poirier just because he won the last one, and usually in trilogy fights, the guy who won the last one is the one who wins the third one.
Did you see Logan Paul was going to fight Mike Tyson?
No.
There was something, I don't know if it's true or not, but it was like, I would love to see that because I feel like he'd be getting, I just think it would be one of those things that you don't know what you're getting involved in, but I think I saw something. It could just be some TMZ BS that I don't know.
It's not Tyron Woodley. It's just Tyson.
I saw Tyson's face and they said like, it wasn't Logan Paul. It was, what's his brother's name? Jake. Whoever just fought Mayweather.
Logan.
I saw Logan saying like he was going to do something with Tyson, but I don't think I don't even know if Tyson would give him the time of day, but I think, is Woodley fighting
Woodley, I mean, now we're turning into an MMA podcast, which
Yeah,
I'm down
talking
for.
about
I'm down
AOS.
for. Woodley was fighting Jake Paul later this year, but then I also saw that Jake Paul signed another bout agreement to fight another person. I want to say Tyson Fury's son. I could be totally off on that.
Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder did 3. I'm excited.
Tyson's going to win that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he was fighting somebody else. But I mean, Jake would get destroyed by.
Oh, I just think even
Mike
at his age, like I was watching, yeah, Tyson of all people, it's just even at his age, so scary. I mean, that guy was. If you look at him like 13, I think there was a picture of Mike Tyson at 13 and Muhammad Ali. And Mike Tyson at 13 looks like he's like 25 years old. I was like, oh my God, I'd be so scared of that kid at like even just such a young age. And
He's 180 pounds, like
no,
5'10".
I mean, just solid muscle and just elite, which is
Yeah.
just
I'm
such a
not
good.
made of the same things as that guy. I was like 85 pounds, like soaking wet.
Exactly, yeah. But no, it's exciting, man. We'll see. I don't know. I wouldn't even hold validity to that. So I just saw that posted, and I could have just been something like, "These are talks." But I think people were saying like, if you have any sense at all, like, do not step in the ring with him. It will not be a good situation for you. So I think Mayweather's a lot smaller than him. He's just very quick and methodical, and I definitely think he has good hits. And but it's not the power of Mike Tyson, who is hitting you once, and who knows if you're getting brain damage. I mean,
Or waking up.
yeah, exactly. It's so scary. So that'd be exciting. I don't think I'd pay for that fight, but I'd like to see it. So we'll see what happens with UFC 264. I definitely like to see. I think I give it to Poirier for making his comeback with that, and I'm excited to see if McGregor can get the win. But that is the 1-1. I mean, and we'll see who has the big W on that. So fun stuff, dude.
Yeah. Well, we will probably get back on the podcast. I don't know. Should we do another one before or during Worlds, or should we do it after Worlds?
So it ends the 27th because I have my tournament on the 27th at NADGT. So let's do. We can do it before, or we can and just kind of like go through the details of like how people are doing. Say we're like 2 days in, and then do like a partial one, and then jump back on when it's over. If you want to do something like that.
Let's do that. Let's do one next week, kind of after a couple rounds, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, and then kind of give people a little rundown, and then
see where our bet stands.
Yeah, we're not changing though. Waisaki's taking it.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. This is the Chain Reaction Podcast, where we talk about disc golf news and new disc golf products. We'll see you guys next week, midway through the 2021 World Championships. Thanks for listening.
Take it easy.